We loved the Cars trilogy for more than just the sheer number of memes. Yes, exactly 20 years ago, this legendary Pixar masterpiece premiered.
There are many different projects that reflect, for example, a particular era in a country's development or global problems. Well, in my opinion, there are works that were ahead of their time and have become undisputed classics. Works made with heart and soul, telling kind and relatable stories for all ages. Works that, after viewing, make you reflect on the important human values of our world. An intriguing start for my channel, where we mostly enjoy teaching new movies and cartoons. That's the thing, I'm not a fan of the phrase "it was better back then, the grass was greener and the sun shone brighter." But when reviewing modern projects, I unfortunately tend to focus on the positives, trying to convey them to you. Meanwhile, a Pixar film from 20 years ago raises the bar of quality and respect for both individual details and the audience to the skies. You'll agree, there's not much positivity these days, so I've decided to occasionally delight you with videos like this, reminding you of the legendary art of animation. How the authors created technology to simultaneously bring the cars and the surrounding world to life in the frame, how the creators actually drove through the nooks and crannies of places whose prototypes we'll see in the cars, how they live record all the individual sounds of each car in the cartoon, and how they built stories so that they became timeless.
My name is Catherine, and this is my personal and frankly inconsequential opinion and review of the Cars 20 years ago. Before I begin, I would like to extend my immense gratitude to my supporters on Boosty. This channel wouldn't exist without you. If you'd like to support me, please use this QR code displayed. Also, a huge thank you for subscribing to my channel. Usually in this section we go through the plot in detail, but now I decided not to be like myself and will try to describe these legendary cars first from a slightly different angle.
So I'd like to give you a little background on the scale of this project. If you look at Pixar animation from the very beginning of its history, the animation studio has created not just cartoons, but entire living worlds. The world of children's dolls in Toy Story, the world of insects in A Bug's Life, the world of monsters in Monsters Incorporated, the world of underwater creatures in Finding Nemo. Nowadays, in the age of ubiquitous artificial intelligence and massive layoffs of designers, many people can't comprehend what it's like to create a 2-hour cartoon. But back in the 2000s, while working on the cartoon, animators drew 43,000 sketches of various cars. Not using a neural network, but by hand. The designers created hundreds of images, distinctive details, and diverse emotions of each car. And ultimately, they managed to give us the entire world of cars, where cars dream, fall in love, grieve, and live truly human lives. Studio founder John Lasseter inherited a love of graphics and animation from his mother, who was a school art teacher. His father, Lasseter Sr., was a manager at Chevrolet dealership, and John inherited his love of cars and racing from him.
However, it wasn't just his love for cars that prompted Lasseter to create a cartoon about them.
A key source of inspiration was a documentary film about how America changed as highways were built. When new highways didn't follow the path people had previously taken, entire towns that relied on sovereign peasant drivers sometimes turned into tiny ghost towns. One of the symbols of this process was the legendary Route 66, which ran from Chicago to Santa Monica and stretched for nearly 4,000 kilometers, passing through 8 southwestern states. It opened in 1926 and officially closed in 1985, marking the end of the entire era of automobile ownership for many Americans. However, the colleagues couldn't come up with a plot back then, so Lasseter only returned to it in 2000, inspired by a family road trip. That's when the racing car was born. Always racing toward its destination at top speed, but by chance it ends up stranded on a remote, abandoned highway.
Speed. I am speed. One winner, 42 losers. I eat losers for breakfast.
There are the most striking and memorable frames of the entire history of animation.
We introduced to the story's protagonist, the racer Lightning McQueen, whose monologue already sets the tone of the story. Lightning is a car built for racing. As an young participant, essentially a narcissistic and arrogant child who knows nothing other than his destiny to go out and win. Lightning has no backstory, but he does have the famous Ciao! During the first races, the creators managed to accomplish several things. Firstly, they establish McQueen's character. He is a loner who falsely believes he is the only one in racing, the star, and thus by winning the Piston Cup, he'll have it all. Secondly, the creators managed to make a breakthrough in animation in the early 2000s. Thanks to the invention of race tracing technology, they created physically accurate lighting and realistic reflections that reveal the shape and material of the car body. Just look at this scene, how the stones fly around the corner due to the speed, how many light sources there are on the racetrack, and listen to the sounds. Oh God.
God, moments like this are like heavenly bliss. And the plot unfolds quite quickly.
Due to his overconfidence, Lightning doesn't change his tires, and his tires blow out just a couple of turns before the finish, giving 3 competitors the lead in the race. Here they are from left to right, Mr. King, Lightning, and the annoying Chica with his mustache. The organizers announce that the final race will be in California, and how easy it is to hurt our hero's ego and trick him, because Chica challenges Lightning to a race, claiming he's the hottest man. So McQueen harnesses Mark's truck for the long haul, but Mark asks Lightning to stop by his sponsors, who got him into racing. They're rusty cars, covered in promotional oil. And here the writers take the future conflict to the extreme, purely outlining Lightning's character and starting point. He believes that rusty cars are not much for him, such a cool and handsome racer. They are rusty, old and crumbling. Although initially in this entire racing environment, it's these old cars that behave kindly and sincerely, half smiling and paying lip service to the hated sponsors. McQueen and Mark set off. And then we see the arrangement of Lightning's trailer. Oh, how he loves himself. Everything is filled with his merchandise, photos and words. We also learn that despite his self-love, not only did he fire the mechanics and treat the remaining employees disrespectfully, but he also has no friends at all. Even for his agent, Lightning is only of financial interest. Since the very beginning of the film, the young racer has no regard for anyone but himself. Respecting no one but himself, he is a hypocrite, taking advantage of the kindness of other cars. This is what happened to the trusting, rustly old cars who sincerely believe in the Lightning, and it's the same with Mark. Driven by ambition, McQueen drives truck non-stop to California, promising to stay up all night with him. Lightning falls asleep, giving us another iconic scene with bad guys on the road. That's why Mark falls asleep, pulls over to the side of the road, and then the dirt road rattles, the Lightning statue falls and opens the hatch. McQueen thus finds himself lost on the busy highway. The lack of headlights, which Lightning has once been so proud of, also plays a role, as it causes him to take a wrong turn and end up in Radiator Springs. Lightning, due to his chaotic and reckless nature, instead of stopping and looking around, gets caught up in a chase that completely shuts down the road in a city already in dire straits. And so we witness the first meeting of Meter and Lightning McQueen. Naturally, McQueen, who judges everyone only by their cover, initially dreams of escaping this hall and his old cars. But according to the town's rules, a trial is scheduled, as lightning nearly brought the town to its knees. The tension mounts as he enters the courtroom. Doc, Hudson, Hornet. His voice, his attitude are incredibly harsh and unscrupulous. The writers certainly went all out here, creating such an emotional roller coaster, because after a good-natured meter, we feel Doc's coldness. But then comes unexpected turn. As soon as Hudson realizes that troublemaker is a racer car driver, he threw him out of town. But then Sully rolls into the courtroom. McQueen, seeing the modern hot-rodded Porsche, immediately turns up the charm. But it works against him, as Sully is the prosecutor here, representing the public interest. Special thanks to the writers for their subtle and skillful introduction of all the town's inhabitants through Sully's performance. We're introduced to Luigi and Guido, who sells tires, Ramona, the owner of the paint shop, Flo, the owner of the local gas station and cafe, Sarge, the hippie filmer, the house fire engine. Thanks to the public outcry, lightning is censored to community service. As soon as lightning's lock was removed to hook it up to the piping machine, he stepped on the gas and sped off to escape this backwater. Incidentally, I like how the writers in the scene showed Doc's restraint, as he doesn't scold Meter for his carelessness, and Meter himself is simple-minded and trusting. But this turn of events was predictable, and no such luck. McQueen was drained of his fuel and sent to fix what he'd broken. Modern screenwriters could learn from Pixar's approach to developing both major and minor characters, as the random appearance of cars wearing off the highway helps us see the hopelessness of the Radiata Springs residents' situation. Now cars and people, for that matter, don't care about the atmosphere, the people, the beauty of Bargain Road, of the pleasure of travel, the GPS, the straight highway, and the final destination. That's what they care about, and McQueen is no different from them. From him, getting to California is his top priority. He doesn't care that he ruined an already decaying town. These rusting cars are no match for the great racer. We agreed to build a road and then we can go? Oh, now I'll just slap together what I've got and go for the cup. He turned out to be, to put it mildly, loosely and insignificant, so Doc jumps in and offers a bet. If Lightning beats him in the race, since he's such a great racer, he can live. But if he loses, he'll be obligated to finish the road. And we all remember that betting on McQueen is easy. Even in this race, the writers show the residents being extremely positive about Lightning, even though he essentially destroyed their main road.
Luigi and Guido generally want to be at his pit stop.
But what usually happens with falsely ambitious racers? They end up getting stung by Cutty, and our Lightning ended up in a ditch because he was overconfidently rushing to get to who knows where, forgetting that he was supported to fix what he'd broken, no matter what. But I like how the writers emphasize Doc's eyes at the start of the race. Oh my god, just think about it. Back in the distant 4th century AD, the creators were able to use ray tracing technology to show all the pain and despair in the eyes of Doc Hudson's iron car when he found himself back on the racetrack for the first time in so many years. Lightning is rebuilding the road, and here we see how the residents themselves are beginning to come alive and rejoice at the changes. They once again sprucing up themselves in their shops. After all, they have too much the new road. Man beautifies the place, and the place beautifies the man. However, no one has cancelled out the new Lightning's memes, because his pride has already been hurt, and he naturally starts circling the road to take the turn. Doc, seeing this tenacity, smiles for the first time. Oh my god, what are the writers doing here? It seems to me that McQueen and Doc's arcs are the most revealing and closely intertwined. Doc smiles because he seems to remember himself, his youth, and sees a reflection of his own journey in the lightning. But the narcissistic McQueen doesn't listen to Hudson's advice, still thinking he's the coolest and best around. But everything begins to change literally that same evening. The residents wants to thank Lightning for the quality road. Luigi gives tires Guido repairs where needed, and Sally lets him stay at the Cone motel she manages. Well, I don't know about you, but now, at 23 years old, I'm completely shocked at how the author skillfully hid many adult jokes and references that you don't understand at all as a child.
For example, they immediately show Sarah Sally's tattoo and emphasize that it's in a private area. Hence, the fans at the stadium even showed off their headlights, you know?
Just think about how hard the writers worked if everything I list above qualifies for a global rating for 0+. You wouldn't even think of such a thing today. And then we're treated to the funniest Cars moment with Mita and Lightning's adventures across the fells. God, I like watching McQueen blossom, how he's such a great racer, first recedes, and then together with Mita takes on tractors. For the first time in his life, Lightning McQueen isn't racing for a trophy or sponsor, he's just having fun with his friend. With the old rusty car he'd considered crazy just a couple of days earlier, and now he's laughing heartily watching Mita speed backwards, checking his mirrors. I think something clicked in Lightning and started to change, but Mita's words about McQueen becoming his best friend finally finished him off.
After all, it was such an emotional day that our egoist for the first time sincerely says thank you to Sally for letting him spend night at the hotel.
What follows are equally magnificent scenes in terms of revelation and plot development. Even though Lightning may have had a moment, he still hasn't fully opened up or fully grasped the value surrounding him in this small town. So, when he heads to the sheriff's store fuel to continue repairing the road, he encounters another scene that wouldn't qualify for a 0+ rating today, where Doc fixes the sheriff. It showed McQueen once again trying to finish everything and get out of there as quickly as possible, eventually ends up in Hudson's garage while driving out of the clinic. The filmmakers are pulling out all the stops. The scene, both musically and visually, is simply a million out of 10. What a detailed garage is this! If you won't take the time to find it and take a look. I just can't post any pictures, but trust me, there are so many interesting details and meticulous details in this garage. And this is going to be a very strange phrase, but how cleverly everything is cluttered. Doc Hudson is a legendary racer with many piston cups, but they just sit there collecting dust like useless trash. And look, how Lightning's expression and words immediately change as soon as he finds out who's standing in front of him. Instead of initially treating everyone normally and respectfully, McQueen steps on the same rig again. And as soon as Lightning sees his value for himself, that Hudson is a great racer, only when he realizes he is a living legend does he begin to respect him. Begins to ask for advice, but he doesn't see Hudson's personality or inner strength. Once again, the kid thinks of someone only by their cover, but Hudson grounds him, saying trophies are just tin cans, useless. That's all. And then, waiting to tell everyone this news about Doc, our narcissistic racer encounters incomprehension from the residents of Radiator Springs. They don't believe Doc even knows how to drive. Well, Sally, hearing about the ride, invites Lightning for a ride, and the racer, having secured from fuel, almost thought about leaving. But no, this is no longer the narcissistic self-absorbed young racer who thought only of himself. He's seen all the beauty, he has seen what Radiator Springs is like, what kind of cars live there, and on this trip to Sally, he'll see even more. When Sally and McQueen are driving, we experience the emotion right along with Lightning, from the incredibly realistically rendered rocks, waterfall, and incredibly beautiful road to the rocky mountain terrain. It's like you're driving right along with McQueen. My God! And those shots and frames for 2006 technology, this is the pinnacle of animation. We see more than just the reflection of the sun and the reflection of water droplets. We see different shadows on the rocks, different stones, different angles of inclination, depending on the curve of the road. For the first time, our racing car, which is designed to go racing, is driving around aimlessly on an empty, non-racing road, seeing all the beauty of a small provincial town and the surrounding nature. This is the very moment when the viewer himself held his breath, when you and I, together with McQueen, saw wild beauty is missed by everyone who is racing to get from point A to point B on the highway. How travel used to bring more emotions and impressions, because sometimes it's not the final destination that matters but the journey. How in the endless rush and desire to simple things for ourselves, all vivid moments pass us by even through to see them. We only need to slow down and look around. Perhaps the world is brighter and more beautiful than we think, and sometimes we need to ground ourselves to find our happiness. And Lightning realized that he too had spent his entire life racing only from start to finish, blindly chasing success, losing sight of the very beauty of life. I'm amazed how the creators emotionally transport us from the head to Antarctica, because the next scene is not only my favorite, but would also evoke emotional bliss in every viewer, young and old. The head of tractors descended of the city, and when one got separated, Lightning went to catch up, and McQueen caught up with him. We see Doc Hudson again, standing in the starting line of the racetrack.
I can't describe my state of frantic shock from this music, this atmosphere.
Oh my god, this scene is so cinematic, it gives me goosebumps all over. The roar of engine, the sound of the tires, the crunch of the dirt road, and when he takes the turn, I'm about to cry. There is a separate video of Doc Hudson's entire lap on YouTube. Watch it sometime and check out the comments. It really captures my emotions from watching it. I think it's no secret that all the car sounds for the Cars cartoon were recorded live, and the Hudson Hornet was also restored to create the effect of a fresh race car that still has some punch. He seems suffocated by the emotion and thrill of racing. What do the animators do with cars? How did they do it? And by the look in Doc's eyes after the race, by his rapid breathing, not his breathlessness, you can see how happy he is to have returned and immersed himself once again in what he loved and enjoyed. But as soon as McQueen appeared on the horizon, Hudson turned back into a grumpy old man. Yes, Hornet loves and hates Lightning at the same time, because it was because of Lightning that he found himself back on the racetrack, challenging himself, but he's angry that he gave in to his weakness, ending up in a place where he was once caused great pain. After Hudson's mistaken accident in 1954, when he was put back together in pieces, he was simply replaced by a youngster and never allowed to compete. So he remembers this, so he never touched racing again. It's worth nothing the name Hudson here. It's the company that manufactured the car, and this is one of those cars. The company invested heavily in racing, donating a lot of cars, but gradually went bankrupt. And around the mid-50s, like Doc, they abandoned their racing niche in 1954, or rather closed. Therefore, this is tribute and not from the creators. That's what the phrase "the great harks back to the legendary" means. And during the squabble between Hudson and Lightning, the viewer is clearly made to understand that the experienced and calm Doc, in contrast to the young and self-confident but very ambitious McQueen, are busy with the same thing. And let's be honest, they strongly reflect and complement each other. They're simply a different stage of their journey. While Lightning is just beginning his racetrack, Hudson has long since finished. It is the perfect contrast, adding a twist to an already ambiguous story. It personifies McQueen's possible future if he doesn't change his approach and outlook on life. When you're just starting out, you're full of dreams, false hopes, thinking that winning first place, sponsors or fans shining their lights on you will make you happy. You see nothing but your ambitions, your eyes sparkle. But there's a problem, you're wearing rose-colored glasses. McQueen hasn't yet realized that winning trophies will eventually become boring, that these achievements will no longer bring you joy, that any rapid rise is often followed by a fairly rapid and painful fall. Doc Hudson couldn't overcome the pain of being kicked out, deprived of everything he loved in life. This is a powerful lesson from Lightning. Any career can end abruptly, like Horner's one day, even through no fault of his own, but in such a race of success, such things are unforgivable. As a result of those values and principles, everything you relied on and though you could live your life on, are instantly destroyed and shattered. And after the euphoria of victory, there will be a terrible downward spiral. Lightning is a young racer who suddenly and easily achieved enormous success and recognition, failing to appreciate their path and take responsibility for their actions. Of course, in such a case, it's easy to become arrogant and not listen to anyone in such a situation, ignore the advice of Mr. Kang, Hudson, Mark, or not listen to your own mechanics. Lightning doesn't yet know how easy it is to lose this, how difficult it is to maintain ourselves while doing the same things for years, how difficult it is to maintain the lead when equally ambitious and self-confident young racers emerge every year, how easy it is to become bored with what once brought pressure, and how difficult it is not to lose oneself. All this pain is described in a couple of minutes of Doc Hudson's history and said in one his sentence.
There was a lot left in me. I never got a chance to show him.
Next day, McQueen finally finished the road, and just when everyone thought he was gone, McQueen suddenly declared
he can't leave because his tires are flat and he needs to stop by Luigi's. And Raymond and Fillmore and Sergeant Lizzie. Ultimately, I even like the look of our new, untainted, down-to-earth McQueen better. His image has become more gentle, not harsh. And just to make sure we're all convinced that this is a different Lightning, he fixed the lights, not just in the small town, but also the lights inside the residents themselves. This scene with the neon, the sun, and most importantly the liveliness in the eyes and movements of all the residents of Radiator Springs, it's a true audiovisual ecstasy. The reflection of the neon on the cars, the shimmering lights and the sparkle in their eyes. It's all so bright and delicious, as you were right, they are hanging out with the guys. But all good things come to an end. How the filmmakers play on our emotions. Everything was so gentle, smooth and calm, and then, suddenly, the nervous journalists rush in and everything is cut short. And you can tell from McQueen that he's no longer happy with the reporters. He was showing off for it at the beginning. At the moment when the reporters particularly force him into the van, you can see McQueen as feel lost, looking around and calling for his only friends and Sally. As everyone leaves, Sally hears that Doc Hudson was the one who called the reporters to pick up Lightning. After all, it was McQueen's arrival in Radiator Springs that forced the reopening of Walt Woods. It was Lightning's arrival that began to change the town and the residents' way of life shift as well. Doc was thinking only of himself, waiting to quickly return everything to normal, not realizing that he was making things worse for everyone. And yes, it's important to understand, things will never be the same again. I love the lonely yellow flashing traffic light that Doc is left alone with after this conversation. It's a nod to the first scene of Lightning's arrival in this small town.
the final race begins. We hear the similar sound again.
Speed. I am speed. One winner, 42 losers. I eat losers for breakfast.
But now, much has changed. Lightning finds it hard to concentrate. His thoughts are in chaos. He's genuinely sad because he's now experienced something beyond his notorious races. His goals and values are shifted. Now he wants to stay where he feels comfortable and happy, where there are no rivals, where he is simply valued and truly loved. McQueen is confused and even wants to tell Mark he wants to call in quits, but then Hudson, Hornet and the guys from Radiator Springs step in. Another hair-raising scene where Hudson finding just the right words of encouragement to get Lightning back on track. And then the truly amazing racing begins. It was also interesting to see that Hudson Hornet, despite the injuncture that befell him, received public support and recognition. We were shown that even rival teams were widely admiring him, shocked by him and respected his work and the kind of driver he was. During the race, Lightning's legend began to play out. When Chica panicked at McQueen's wild success, she pushed him and spun him around, but our Lightning started driving backwards, just as Mita had taught him. Incidentally, even the soundtrack alluded to this. But Chica wasn't satisfied with that again. This time he pushed him so hard that the tire burst. And then, for Guido, who was being bullied by the other rival cars, the hour had struck. Yes, this is another one of the best goes pop and doesn't sense.
On the final lap, that mustache Chico, who has become so annoying to me, pushed McQueen again.
But here Lightning streaks across the door just like Doc taught him, and we see pride and admiration for his students in Hudson's eyes. This moment is so meticulously detailed, every pebble is so beautifully visible, and the music, the feeling of drifting is clearly a lesson learned from Doc. But the most powerful scene is of course the final one, where Lightning, having almost won the race, approaches the finish line, but sees stunned Chico, oh my god, why hasn't he been disqualified yet, push another competitor, this time King, and he feels of crashing. It's a horrific incident, the kind that simply takes your breath away. Unfortunately, King is literally broken on the edge. Lightning, realizing that the most important thing is to remain human, to value and respect others, to think beyond oneself, breaks just before the finish line, returns for King and helps him across the finish line. I've seen so many reviews and comments condemning the Lightning bolt, saying nothing prevented it from crossing the finish line and then returning to help King get there. But the entire cartoon was leading us to the conclusion that McQueen learned important lessons. It was precisely his changed principles, his changed outlook on life, what he learned, what the residents of Radiator Springs taught him, and the situation with Doc prevented him from crossing that line. The most important lesson is that it's a mistake to pursue only rewards and put them first, forgetting about those around you, even if they're rivals. It's simply inhuman. Lightning is no longer an egotist. He's realized that it doesn't really matter whether you win or not. What matters is what kind of person or car you are and how you treat others. If Lightning had finished first, the King's final race would have been marked as a DNF, did not finished. But instead, he helped King retire with greater dignity. Thanks to Lightning's actions, King finished second, and Lightning started his career, a respectable thought. Oh, I love watching McQueen after the race and his triumph abandon his original financial goal, the Dineco sponsorship. He chose a different path in life and became grateful to those who initially set him on that path. Rusty old cars that genuinely cared about the young man, and they were right.
McQueen now wants to help revive the town, and so he fulfilled his promise by giving Matt a ride in a helicopter.
Helicopter, helicopter.
It's probably even symbolic that Cars doesn't occupy high places in the top charts.
After all, the film's main message is that there are more important things in life than chasing first places. Although frankly it's unthinkable that such a legendary, well-researched film with incredible detail, cinematography and a powerful story, didn't receive higher marks. Every year I discover something new in Cars, from the adult vulgar references and jokes to the details backgrounds where everything is built to the world of Cars. Rocks, paintings, beetle cars as flying insects in the world of Cars. In general, the entire diverse world of Cars, from dynamic races to the tranquility of Route 66, is both euphoric and climbing. Cars are literally the reason that pumped gas into an entire generation. The sounds of the cars, the music, the huge stadiums are pure ecstasy. I get goosebumps every time I watch the opening and closing scenes, like the first time. And yet, the creators so lovingly managed to show the intricacies of the racing and the sheer satisfaction and technology of every car. The story itself may be simple in some ways, but I think its meaning is covered very skillfully. Everything it promises not only works, but leads to brilliant conclusions that have nurtured entire generations. Maybe it's time for us to think about slowing down and finally seeing the beauty that's hidden from us in the race for speed and false success. I'd really hope that cartoons like these will be remembered forever.
It's a shame that not everyone understands the beauty of the Cars plot. If you want to support the reviews, please use this QR code displayed. Good luck everyone! Ciao!